Welcome everybody to the Heartspace. Today we are going to dive into something that impacts every part of our lives, our relationships, our careers, our inner peace, the stories we tell ourselves. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So many of us struggle with negative thinking patterns. We get caught up in self-doubt, anxiety, fear, and it's like we're stuck in a never-ending cycle. We try to break free, but somehow those thoughts just seem to creep back in. And the more we focus on them, the more they seem to manifest in our lives. It's like we're trapped in a prison of our own minds. At the intersection of psychology and spirituality, we often hear that thoughts become things. But it's not just about positive thinking. It's about understanding how the narrative running through your mind is actively creating your world and how you can harness this power to live more aligned, more empowered, and more in tune with your higher self. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is constantly writing stories. These stories are your beliefs about who you are and what you deserve and what's possible for you. But here's the thing, most of these stories are not true. In fact, they are often based on fear, past trauma, or limiting beliefs picked up throughout your life or your past lives. Psychologically, we know this as cognitive distortion. Our brains take experiences, especially negative ones, and interpret them in ways that confirm our beliefs, even if those beliefs are false. It's like wearing glasses that distort your vision, causing you to see life through the lens of, I'm not good enough, or nothing ever works out for me. This is what psychologists call the confirmation bias. We seek out evidence to prove our stories right, even if those stories are disempowering. But guess what? We can change that. Just as you picked up these limiting stories, you can rewrite them. And this right here is where the spiritual aspect comes in. From a spiritual perspective, every story we tell ourselves is like a prayer or intention to the universe. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs vibrate on frequencies. We are frequency, beautiful souls, and those frequencies attract similar energies. In many spiritual teachings, whether it's the law of attraction, Buddhism, or even ancient Vedic wisdom, the core idea is that we are the creators of our own reality. Let that sink in. When you constantly tell yourself a story of fear or doubt, you align yourself with those energies. Your external world begins to mirror your inner world, attracting situations, people, and outcomes that confirm your inner dialogue. The universe responds to the vibration of your thoughts, not necessarily your desires. But here's the beautiful part. You have the power to shift that frequency. By rewriting your internal story, you change not only your mindset, but also the energy you send out into the world. And doing so, you start to attract new possibilities, new opportunities, and new blessings. So how exactly do these stories shape our lives psychologically? Let's dig a little deeper. In psychology, there's this talk about self-fulfilling prophecies. A self-fulfilling prophecy happens when we believe something so strongly that we unconsciously behave in ways that make it come true. For example, if you tell yourself, I always fail, I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I can never make that happen, your brain will find ways to sabotage you, confirming that story. It's like a loop. The story you tell yourself shapes your actions, and your actions produce results that reinforce that same story. It's the mind playing a trick on you, convincing you that this story is reality when in truth, it's just one version of events. On a deeper level, neuroscientists have found that the brain is neuroplastic. It can change. This amazing rewiring of the brain will also rewrite your DNA by consciously choosing new thoughts and beliefs. You can literally rewire your brain's pathways. This means that the limiting stories you've been telling yourself for years aren't set in stone. You have the power to rewrite them and, in doing so, create new neural pathways that reflect a more empowered, confident version of yourself. And spiritually, this is no different. The moment you change your internal dialogue, the universe responds. It's as if the divine is saying, you've shifted your belief. Let's give you an experience that matches that new energy. I'll never forget the moment when I realized the power of my thoughts. I was going through a tough time in my life. I was always comparing myself to everybody around me, and I always felt inferior to the people around me. I just never felt good enough. And I was stuck in a cycle of negative thinking. But then I stumbled upon an enlightened soul that guided me towards my own shadow work through meditation, awareness, mindfulness, and waking up consciousness. Throughout these techniques, I realized, who am I? Without the ego, without the traps, without the emotional traps, without the fear, without the trauma. I realized how raising your vibration and coming from a place of unconditional self-love and non-judgment can shift the reality we live in. As I started to apply those principles to my own life, I began to notice a major shift. I started to feel more confident, more motivated, and more inspired. And as I look back on my life, I realized that my thoughts had been holding me back this whole time. So how do we actually rewrite our stories? It starts with awareness. It starts with waking up consciousness every minute of your day. Begin by paying attention to your thoughts and noticing when old stories pop up. And then ask yourself, is this story true? Is it serving me? Is it coming from a place of unconditional love? Remember, most of our limiting stories are rooted in past pain or fear. But you are not your past. You are the awareness that can observe your past and choose differently in the present. I always tell my beautiful viewers that we are not our emotions. We are not this body. If anything else, we are the observer. So, the minute you step into the observer shoes, observing what you are doing throughout your day, how you are feeling, what your thoughts are, it's going to be the first fundamental step in you rewriting your story. Here's a spiritual practice I love. Whenever you catch yourself telling a disempowering story, stop, breathe, and say to yourself, I release this old story. I'm ready to write a new one. I am infinite potential. And then ask, what's the new story I want to create? One powerful tool for this process is journaling. Write down the old story and then on a fresh page, rewrite it. For example, if the old story was, I'm not good enough, you might write, I am worthy of love and success and I am growing every day. This simple act signals both to your subconscious mind and the universe that you're ready for change. When you change your story, you change your vibration. And when you change your vibration, everything around you shifts. It's like dropping a stone into a pond. The ripple effect spreads out, touching every part of your life. You'll start to see synchronicities, new opportunities, and a sense of peace that comes from living in alignment with your higher self. And this change doesn't just affect you, it ripples out to everyone around you, your loved ones, your friends, your community. Imagine if we all shifted our stories from fear and limitation to love and possibility. So today, beautiful souls, I challenge you to take a moment to reflect on the stories you're telling yourself. Are they rooted in love, empowerment, and growth? Or are they coming from fear? If they are not helping, remember, you have the power to rewrite them. The only thing that you need to do is wake up consciousness, meditating, grounding, and connecting with your body and your emotions. So please let me know, my loves, what are your thoughts? Have you ever caught yourself stuck in a cycle of negative thinking? Please share your experiences in the comment box down below. I would love for you to come back maybe in a month or two and tell me how these practices that I just told you about helped you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And remember, no matter what your past story has been, you have the power to create a new one today.